fantastic. 400 miles I've come to see this day. Never thought it'd happen in my history.
Well, it's amazing. You only have to look at it, to be honest. Better than Wembley, this.
It's amazing, absolutely amazing. We never thought I'd see anything like this in Rotherham.
The sheer epicness of it.
I mean it's a proper stadium.
It's like a UFO's landed in Rotherham.
It is.
Though, really.
It is.
You promised us iconic, we've got iconic.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic. We've been wanting this ground for years here. Should do the town loads and loads of good. We've been waiting for it for ages.
After 4 long seasons playing outside of the town, Rotherham United returned to Rotherham to play their first competitive fixture in the New York Stadium. This marked the end of a troubling number of years of the club that has seen them twice survive administration. The New York Stadium is situated in Rotherham Town Centre and is visible for miles. It can even be seen from Millmoor, the ground that played host to the club for 100 years.
Millmoor did play a big part in my sort of like formative years in my life, going down there on a regular basis, standing in the same spot, you know, game in, game out, before I became a football ref.
When I first signed, and I really enjoyed it, to be honest. It was what you call an old school ground. Fans were like really on top of you.
The atmosphere was good. It was a hostile place to go. I played there as a visiting player as well, and so it was a difficult place to play at.
Yeah, it was really enjoyable for me, and also a very good pitch, so you could actually get down and play football. Yeah, really good.
Howard Webb has followed the club since he was 9 years old and remembers one of his earliest experiences at Millmoor.
Probably going right back to that first season, 1980-81 season in May. Final game of the season, we beat Plymouth 2-1 to win that league.
United come out onto the ground where they haven't been beaten in the league all season, and where they now need just 1 point to be sure of the third division championship.
Ronnie Moore, who ended up becoming a manager as well for many years, was one of the most prominent players in modern history of the football club. He scored a goal to make it 1-0.
It comes for Moore, and the early anxiety disappears.
And then Plymouth equalised, made it 1 apiece.
And it was Hodges coming in, and it might drop here for John Sims. Plymouth are level.
And late on, we needed to win to keep Barnsley in second place and to win the division. And a guy called Rod Fern scored at the bottom end of the railway end. So I lobbed it over the keeper.
And Fern can wrap it all up here. Rodney Fern salutes the goal, but surely confirms Rotherham United as champions of the third division. And this time it's for real. The championship of the third division comes to Rotherham United and to Millmoor.
Going crazy. The full-time whistle hour on the pitch. I was on the 9 on the pitch, grabbed a bit of turf, put it in my pocket and put it in my dad's car.
Still got it.
And it went in the garden somewhere at home. And we've moved house, of course, since then, but I don't know if it's still part of that garden or not, but that's probably my overriding memory, I think.
Millmoor currently stands disused in the industrial heartland of Rotherham after an agreement to house Rotherham United couldn't be reached by the club and the ground's owners.
It served Rotherham well over the years, and for various personal reasons, I think, between the club and the landowners and the owners of the site, it was never going to develop any further than it did. And things needed to move on. The club certainly needed to move on.
It was run down. It was dilapidated, and there was only so much we could do with it. We tried to replace the old wooden main stand with a new stand, but it had served its purpose.
Local business owner and club sponsor Phil Hickling has followed Rotherham United his entire life, but agreed it was time for a fresh start for the Millers.
Well, Millmoor did serve its time. I mean, it were a lovely place for the Rotherham United, home of Rotherham United. I mean, there's some good memories of Millmoor. But I mean, it wanted a lot of money spending on it, so it was time for a change. Tony made the correct decision, and I think he's done a fantastic job.
I don't know. When we left the stadium, it didn't seem as sad as what I thought it would be. It seemed like we knew we had to do it, and I don't know if it was like when the old main stand was ripped down and they started building the new one. It only became half finished. I don't know. sort of like ripped the heart out of the stadium a little bit by doing that.
In May 2008, local businessman Tony Stewart took over as chairman of the club. He would eventually be the man who would take Rotherham United to the New York Stadium. However, after being forced from Millmoor, his first task was to find the club a temporary home. They turned to the Don Valley Stadium in neighbouring Sheffield. The Don Valley Stadium is a 25,000 capacity, multi-purpose arena, complete with indoor and outdoor running tracks.
In terms of events, to conferences, wedding receptions, tours, athletic events, basically any event that we feel necessary which could give us an opportunity to brand ourselves, to market Don Valley as a fantastic facility.
Unfortunately for Rotherham United, the nature of the stadium meant the playing field was miles from the stands, generating an atmosphere that the players could only compare to a training match.
Well, I came to Rotherham United as an opposition manager, and we used to say to our players we want to spend as little time here as possible. And but if anything, I think it was as much as it probably hammered the home team. It probably hammered Rotherham more than it did the away team. The away team only came once a season. Rotherham United had to be there the whole season, so it makes it harder.
There was obviously the stands a long way away. There's only one side's got the fans on, and the pitch is flatter than Millmoor. There was a little slope on Millmoor, but it was a difficult situation to take. The first year I think we coped quite well. Teams seemed to come there and not want to play there, but I think over time, I think the novelty wore off for the home players, and the home record seems to dip a bit.
We're like playing a reserve game every week. You could never create an atmosphere, and you were having to try and create an atmosphere as lads, and it just never really worked.
Everyone says like you have a 12th man and stuff at home, but at Don Valley I think it was very hard for that to happen, because the fans didn't really feel part of the game, and it often felt like a reserve game with no atmosphere.
For the 2 years leading up to Rotherham United's move, their average attendance was 4,481. At some point during their move to the Don Valley, they lost 1,000 fans, as their average attendance in Sheffield was just 3,552. So how did the fans feel about the move?
Not great. Obviously there's a running track between the pitch and the fans, so you kind of felt away from the action.
I think when it put a lot of people off, and there was no atmosphere. I mean, well, you were sat miles from the pitch, and then the dugout on the other side of the pitch. What all that was about, I've no idea.
More importantly for me, you're asking football fans to watch their football in a stadium that's not designed for football. An athletic stadium where there was very little atmosphere. It was quite exposed to the elements, quite bleak.
People that I've spoken to have said, well, we've supported Rotherham from a distance for many, many years, and when they used to play in Rotherham, we used to go and watch them. But then when they went to Sheffield, we stopped going to see them.
And it wasn't just the club that suffered. Local businesses missed out on their usual Saturday afternoon footfall.
Just kind of negative that this isn't Rotherham. Yeah. This is, we are in Sheffield, contributing to someone else's economy. As crazy as it sounds, there's a lot of trade to be had on a Saturday afternoon match day.
Days gone by when there were 4, 5, 6, 7,000 people a week coming into Rotherham at a home game. Those figures suddenly disappeared, and it had to have some dramatic effect on business in Rotherham, yes.
But it was a difficult time, a difficult thing to do, but an acceptance that we had to do it, I guess. And I think we should look back now and be grateful to Don Valley for being available.
Obviously had a chapter to play in the club's history, and it's a chapter that's kept the club alive, if you like.
I spoke to a couple of fans, obviously appreciate the job we did for providing the stadium, basically keeping in the league, basically.
I suppose the option would have been to go to Brownell Lane or somewhere like that, or play at Chesterfield or somewhere. At least we had that element of independence by going to Don Valley.
There were a few grumblings, as you can tell. We had an athletics track as well, away from pitch. But most of the fans were appreciative of what SIV and what Don Valley did for the fans and keeping the team in the Sheffield area, really.
In January 2010, Rotherham United bought a plot of land near Rotherham Town Centre, and later that year the council granted the club planning permission to redevelop the site for a football stadium. The chosen site was the disused Guest and Crimes foundry that sits next to the River Don, a foundry that has found a way to live on through the new stadium.
Well, history tells us that the fire hydrants of New York were actually made here in Rotherham. and they were made by Gueston Crimes as a foundry, and all exported across into New York, and were fitted into New York, and hence we got that relationship and we got that nickname of New York, mini New York, producing the fire hydrants for the city of New York.
A section of the foundry still stands on the site, and with such a rich history, the locals are divided on what should be done with the remains.
I think it's actually part of our town. The area itself, New York, it's famous for the items it's distributed.
If they do anything with it, they've got to leave at least one wall. It would be fantastic if we get something like a travel lodge or something like a restaurant, something. That'd be fantastic. Then visiting fans can come and stop the night and have a meal.
I don't think it should be protected and left. I think it should be protected and possibly turned into a museum.
The most significant structure in world football were the Twin Towers at Wembley.
Yeah.
And they no longer exist. They got took down and dismantled, and if they can do it to the Twin Towers at Wembley, then they can do it to Gueston Crimes Foundry.
While debate over the Gueston Crimes Foundry continued, construction of the £20 million New York Stadium began in June 2011, with the aim of being ready for the start of the following season. The stadium was complete and fit for opening in July 2012, with a capacity of 12,000 that can be increased if the club achieves success. The New York Stadium clearly stands out as one of the best grounds in the league.
11, 12,000, we're going to get that on a regular basis. It's the stadium's incredible. It's a mini Emirates, and I can't give it any better tribute than that.
I'm glad whoever's designed it, chairman or whoever, have gone back to the old school where the fan is quite a steep gradient on the stands, so the fans are really on you. And you can hear every man, even if he's slagging you off, if he's praising you or whatever, and I prefer that, so yeah, it's really good.
It's nice and tight around the whole pitch, the fans are virtually on top of you, the atmosphere is good, it just feels like playing football again.
Some liked the ground that much, they even decided to put their name on it.
Well, I kept going and visiting the New York Stadium in the stages it was being built, and I could see the names going to be on the stand, and I thought, oh. And then Mark, the commercial manager, approached me and I sat down, me and my brother, I thought, well, it'd be absolutely fantastic to get our company name on that.
In a local area where Rotherham United are competing for support with Barnsley and the two clubs from Sheffield, the New York Stadium will play a big part in generating support amongst the younger generations.
I've got kids who are 14, 11 and 9, and they're excited about Rotherham United, and I took them down there to support the club that bought into it, but it's dead easy for them because they're coming into their support of the football club at probably the most exciting time in the history of the club.
Saturday the 18th of August 2012 was probably the most exciting day in the history of Rotherham United. This was the day they would play their first competitive game in Rotherham outside of Millmoor.
Anyone passing the stadium, it's shiny, it's new, it's something that it brings the town together.
It looks fantastic. I mean, it airs up the back of my neck standing up when I walk to the ground.
It's that sort of feeling, that sort of buzz, and I'm 41 now, I'm not a little kid, but still getting that sort of excitement from metal and concrete.
The journey from the jaws of administration took Rotherham United from their home for a century to another city. A journey that was not lost amongst any of the supporters.
Tony Stewart, where will we be without him?
And I must say that what Mr Stewart and this consortium have done for this town is absolutely fantastic.
We're out,
save the Millers to this.
Yeah, we're out with begging buckets at clubs like Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield United.
Can't wait for it. It's like a breath of fresh air moving from Don Valley. We're back home in New York.
We're back. We're making an effort. Fantastic for the town.
Yeah, I mean, look at this.
Yeah, we brought all of New York.
All of New York.
We shipped in Statue of Liberty.
Great to be home, it's good to be back in Rotherham rather than Sheffield.
Well. So, there's a million. I'm coming home.
Just that day that you thought would never come, all these false dawns and promises that never came to be. And
oh, it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, I never thought it would happen. I mean, I don't think a lot of Rotherham fans never thought it would happen. But to me, what Tony Stewart's done for the club has been absolutely fantastic.
So in a fresh start for the club, with a new stadium, a new manager and a host of new players, how have the expectations changed?
Champions, mate. Champions.
But it's got to be top, hasn't it?
Top.
Expectations got to be top.
It's got to be straight up.
Yeah, straight up.
Just promotion. I'll be happy with third. Finish third, I'll be happy.
Promotion, hopefully. Winning league, not just promotion, winning league.
The fans get excited as they see new signings arrive and they can identify them as good players they've seen or they've heard or they've spoke about.
The amount of players and the quality of players we've signed has added pressure.
Hopefully we're going to be up there this year. I think we should be up there this year with the players we've got.
I know when I play, I'll embrace it because I've been at the old ground, i.e. Don Valley, and didn't particularly enjoy it. So when you do play in a stadium like that, you've got to enjoy it.
I don't think there's any shadow of doubt that players like a big stage and they like a better stage to perform on, and they've got that.
On a day that will long live on in the memory of their supporters, Rotherham United passed the test of their first game back with flying colours and are now a team heavily tipped for success. With the backing of a passionate chairman, a squad of talented players and the support of their hometown, the future looks bright for the Millers.
Like right now. I don't know if you get a man or not. If you...
What's your favourite part about the New York Stadium?
All of it. There isn't a favourite part of it. So it's fantastic. It's all fantastic.
It's visible. It fills you with pride.
The home end is a favourite part of the North Stand. To me is incredible. I think the noise they make is terrific. And I've said it, if I lived in the town of Rotherham and I wasn't, involved in a job, I'd be up there singing myself.
That's a good question.
Favourite part? I haven't been in it yet. It's my first time.
Favourite part?
I'd have to say the pitch itself. The playing surface is really nice. It's nice and hard, so it's got a true bounce, and it's just a nice place to play football.
When I walked out there to referee my first game there, it's just a total red and white bowl.
The pies.
Pucker pie stall.
What do you think of it, son?
Cool.
Cool? Is it cool?
Yeah.
Good man.